Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is an action thriller from South Korea, Korean language English subs, released in the year 2014, directed by Jin Jang, and this film is called Man on High Heels. So Man on High Heels is about this detective in South Korea. He's very brutal, everybody fears him, the mafia respect him, they're telling everybody this is what a man should be. So he solves a lot of crimes through his brutality, and so he's a very fearful subject. But on the inside he has a lot of turmoils because he is in fact a woman. He believes that he was born a woman and this is the way of life that he's always wanted, but because the society says that a man is a man and a woman is a woman and no in between, he keeps those feelings to himself and he's trying to fight those inner turmoil by himself, and that's threatening to destroy him. So this actually makes him a lot more vulnerable to the mafia. Now, he incarcerated the mafia boss's brother, and so the mafia and this detective have a lot of animosity. So he's trying to keep the mafia off, and at the same time he's trying to keep that secret deep within him, and he's trying to come to terms of whether or not he'll ever go through with it and become the person that he believes he always was. So whether or not he can do that is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Man on High Heels. This is a very, very interesting film, and I thought it was actually a phenomenal film. Now this is a movie that will make a lot of people uncomfortable. If you're not secure in your sexuality and you're one of those people who hate transgender and you're constantly, slagging them off, then this is not a movie for you. But if you are comfortable with your sexuality and you're comfortable with who you are, then I think this is a very important film, and it's a very intriguing film. It's because you've got this character who is depicted in a way that's not very often in South Korean cinema, especially. I've since read up that not a lot of South Korean films depict transgender, so whether or not society has a problem with that, I don't know, but it seems that worldwide society does frown upon transgender to some extent, and therefore a lot of these people will actually suffer in silence. And I think this movie depicts that very well without being offensive, without making fun of it, and it actually, I feel, will appeal to a lot of transgender people, because it does show you that inner turmoil. It does show you when society molds you in a way where you have to be that way, otherwise you're a freak, and so you're worried about the consequences of what society will say. So it does tear you up inside, and I thought this character was a perfect example of that. On one side you've got this very exaggerated caricature ideal of a man. You've got him beating up 20 people with no gun. You've got everybody constantly saying, this is what a real man is. This guy is what I hope to be. This guy he's like a superhero. He is the macho man. He is the ultimate man. And they're constantly saying that. And it's giving me the impression that he is a result of the influence from other people, is that other people are saying it so much, and then he believes, okay, I have to be this way because that's what society tells me I have to be. And so, but deep down, that's not who he is. And so he actually feels as though it's starting to eat away at him. And the interesting part of this film is that his inner turmoil is more dangerous than the oncoming mafia, and so that's something that you don't really associate with, the inner feelings, and talking about inner feelings. That's not what a man does, and so I think the movie symbolises everything that is wrong about the society's view of what a man is, and so they're not allowed to show emotions, they're not allowed to do any of that because that is not manly, and so the movie really depicts that very well and puts it out on the table, and it discusses it to an extent where I felt that it's not only a very good action film, but it's also a very soul-searching film, and it's a movie where you actually applaud the bravery that is of the transgender people, and that what society tells you can't do, you actually do, because that's who you are. And so you're bringing out your true self out in the open, and that does show a lot of courage, and that's something that does get criticised a lot, but in the end what you've got to do is just think about it and think, okay, these people are being who they are, and they're being true to themselves, so how can that be a bad thing? And so this character is constantly juggling that, and it was just intriguing the way he unfolds to a level where you think that he's so much more than just an action hero. So the acting from this main character was absolutely phenomenal. I think this is an incredibly sad film. I could really sympathise with this guy because on the outside he's a hardened sort of battle, he's a hardened war machine, but on the inside he's got a lot of compassion, he's got a lot of likability, but once again it's society moulding him in a way where he can't be his true self. And so you've got that secret lingering over his head that is constantly threatening to be out in the open, and you feel that that's going to be much more devastating than all the bullets and all the stab wounds that this guy actually ends up taking. So on the other hand, you've got a fantastic action film. The action choreography, I don't know what it is about South Korean films, but the choreography and the action sequences are absolutely spot on. This is an incredibly brutal film, and it does show the ugliness of the outside. And as I said, it's the ugliness of the mould of what a man should should be. And so on the inside, you've got this guy who is completely different, but he's putting on a show, and you feel as though that show can't keep going on because there's only so much a human being can take before it's all too much. And so towards the end of the film, you do believe that this character is coming to that point. And so he's a very three-dimensional character, and he's a character that you can get a lot of fear from because he is very violent, but at the same time you can just get so much compassion, so much sympathy for him, is because he can't be the person he is because society says he can't. So the music, the soundtrack was absolutely fantastic, the continuity was great. As I said, when there aren't any great action scenes happening and there isn't, the interesting story of the mafia, you got this incredibly interesting character that just unravels to a point where you feel as though you're never bored, and you feel that the director has just nailed all the right areas to make a film that is very different within the action/thriller genre. And so for that reason, I would highly recommend you go out there and check out Man on High Heels, and as a result of that, I'm going to give this film 4.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching movies, and I'll see you later.